Hey guys, welcome. This is our R.1 Quiz Review 1 video. I'm going to walk you through all the types of problems that are going to be on the quiz. And we're going to work backwards. So we're going to start with 9-4 and work back. Okay, so this is our first one. We have to factor and then solve for 0. So we're going to use the zero product property. So to factor, we get negative 12 and 4. And the two numbers that multiply to give me negative 12 and add to give me 4 is going to be a positive 6 and a negative 2. Okay. Now, if you recall, we can do a little shortcut on this, where we do x plus 6 and x minus 2, but we already know the answer is going to be x equals negative 6 and positive 2. It's the opposites. And that's because when we do the zero product property, we take each of these pieces and we set them equal to 0. And what happens is I end up subtracting 6, that gives me the negative 6. I add the 2, that gives me the positive 2. And that works when we have basic x factoring. When we get to this problem, we have to not do basic factoring, but factor by grouping. So we're going to have to multiply these two together. We get negative 18. And they have to add to 3. So two numbers that multiply to give me a negative 18, add to 3. It's going to be 6 and negative 3. So we're going to break that down. And we're going to get, let's do negative 3 over here, x plus 6x minus 9, and drop down the 2x squared. Factor by grouping. Over here I can pull out an x, that leaves me with 2x minus 3. Over here I can pull out the number 3, and I get 2x minus 3. When I see that, I should say they look at the same. So we pull the x plus 3 in one binomial, and we get the 2x minus 3 in the second binomial. And this is all equal to 0. So now we can set each one of these pieces individually equal to 0 using my zero product property. And we subtract 3 from both sides, and we get x equals a negative 3 is one of my answers. And then over here we're going to add 3. Get a little bit more space over here. 2x equals 3, divide by 2, and x equals 3 over 2. You're going to get fractions pretty often on some of these, especially when we have a number in the front. So don't be worried that you got a fraction. Okay, that's okay. Alright, so that takes care of 9-4. Now let's go back to 9.3. 9.3, we learned how to find x when it's just square roots. So we have a two-step equation here. First step, we're going to go ahead and add 128 to both sides. We get 2x squared equals 128. Divide by 2. Got to get the x squared part alone. X squared equals 64. Take the square root of both sides, and we get x equals 8. But we can't forget, when we get x equals 8, remember it's plus or minus 8. If I were to graph that, x would hit plus or minus 8. Okay? Alright, that was 9.3. Moving back, we get 9.2. This is probably our most difficult problem. This is when we have our multiple steps. So I'm going to do all the steps from our little sheet. So step 1 was to use x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, this basically finds my axis of symmetry. This is what this finds, which is very convenient. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take the negative b over the 2a. The a is right here, which is just a 1. And we're going to get negative 2 over 2 times 1. And that's going to become a positive 2 over 2, or x equals 1. So that's technically my axis of symmetry. Step 2, I'm going to plug that back in to find y, because I need an actual vertex point. Okay, I'm trying to find what's my vertex. Okay, my vertex is going to be 1 comma something. I don't know what the other part is. So let's go ahead and find that. Okay, so I'm going to get 1 squared minus, oops, made a mistake there, minus 2 times 1 plus 1. Okay, so this is going to be 1 minus 2 plus 1, and if you do that, you actually end up with 0. So we have our second point as 0. So there's our vertex at 1 comma 0. And I'm going to actually kind of scroll this down a little bit. And we have our vertex at 1, 0. Okay, so 1, 0 is going to be right here. So there's my vertex. And now I got to pick a point on either side. So I can do 2 and 3, or I can do 0 and -1. Okay, I think 0 and -1 is easier to work with. So I'm going to pick the 2 points on this side, and then I can reflect them on the other side. So this is going to be our third step. Okay, so step 3, we're going to switch over here. I'm going to pick 2 points. I picked them 0 and -1. So we'll plug those in. We get -1 squared minus 2 times a -1 plus 1. And then this one's really easy. It's going to be 0 squared minus 2 times 0 plus 1. So when we have 0 as our x, we're going to get 1 for our y. So 0 and 1. And over here, we're going to get 1 plus 2 plus 1, which is going to give me 4. So -1 is going to give me 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, axis of symmetry is going right down the middle. Pick a point on the other side and pick a point up here. And there is our graph. Okay, there's our graph. Okay, so step 4 was the reflecting. Okay, so nice little review of this kind of situation. Alright, last problem. This one's a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to keep the pink color. Now, when we're doing these, we wanted to set this up, and we just want to first find what the vertex is. Okay, remember what's the vertex? It's in vertex form. So we take the opposite of this, that's going to be 2, and we take exactly that, -1. So there's my vertex. Okay, next, we want to say up or down, right? Up or down, which one? This is a negative sign, so we're going to be going down. Okay, so down is our answer. And then we want to say narrow, wide, or we could even do normal. Okay, now we just look at the number 2, not the negative, just the number 2, and if it's bigger than 1, it's going to get narrow. So we're going to go ahead with the narrow answer, the narrow response. Boom, boom. So we went down, narrow, and we have our vertex. Just a quick sketch, real quick. 1, 2, -1. There's my vertex. It's going down and it's narrow. Okay, again, it doesn't have to be a perfect sketch, but that's what it would look like, something around there. Alright guys, that's our video. Nice, short, and simple, but that covers everything you're going to see on the quiz. Nothing outside of what you just saw is going to show up on the quiz. Okay, so it might ask in a different way, but same principles. Alright, see you.